Hey everyone, welcome back. Just a quick note before we start. This isn't the full free energy device yet. What you'll see today is a magnetic switching motor built on the same concept, so you can get a clear idea of how it works. The complete free energy setup may come in a future video. Before we begin, I want to clarify something important. There are two types of magnetic switching motors I've been developing. The first is the reciprocating type, which I'll demonstrate in this video. The second is the rotary type, and that's where the full free energy model can truly emerge. Part A. You saw only the half-power model. Today, in Part B, the magnetic switching motor finally runs at full power. We'll be analyzing the behavior of the MS motor and evaluating how its characteristics could make it suitable for free energy applications. If this is your first time watching my video today, the other videos on my channel will give you the background knowledge for this one too. The silicon steel attaches immediately because the two parallel N52 magnets inside the MS motor produce a strong field, and the actuator design requires air gaps on both sides. These structural air gaps naturally create magnetic leakage, which is why the steel panel is strongly attracted when brought near the motor. The reason I used only half power before is simple. The PWM module couldn't drive the system properly. I then tested a solid-state relay, but its plastic enclosure and lack of a heat sink caused it to overheat and burn. So I kept the input within a safe range and achieved the maximum RPM possible under stable conditions. Since I built this PWM circuit myself, I used a 2-channel oscilloscope to verify its output signals. Here, I'm showing the oscilloscope setup along with the solid-state relay. We're finally starting the system test. Let's see how it performs. This is optical sensor power. This is the main power. During the previous power test, I pushed the system too hard with overvoltage and overcurrent, and the SSR burned out. So for safety, I'm starting from 10 volts this time. The oscilloscope shows that the digital waveforms on both channels are alternating properly. Looks really good. I'm gradually raising the voltage now. The configured voltage is 15 volts at 0.5 amps. In the last test, the SSR failed due to high current. So for this test, I'm raising the current slowly. The digital pulse waveform is being produced with excellent stability. Now I'm increasing the voltage to 20 volts. The shortening of the oscilloscope waveform indicates that the RPM is increasing. The red and green pilot LEDs in the center indicate that the two-channel outputs are alternating. The device itself is very precise and sturdy, so there's almost no mechanical noise. The only sound you hear is from the old flywheel bearing. A total of 13 bearings were used to ensure the system operates this smoothly. .678 RPM now. .696 RPM now. Now I'm adjusting the voltage to 30 volts. The SSR module hasn't started heating up yet. .889 RPM now. .955 RPM now. In the video, the device may not look like it's spinning very fast, but that's not how it appears in real life. Because I filmed this in 4K at 30 Hz, the camera captures intermittent freeze frames, which makes the rotation look slower than it actually is. Now I'm adjusting the voltage to 35 volts. So far, the SSR module hasn't heated up. .1075 RPM now. The digital pulse waveform is still looking good. Now I'm adjusting the voltage to 40 volts. The SSR module is still not showing any signs of overheating. .1159 RPM now. Now I'm adjusting the voltage to 45 volts. The SSR module is only now beginning to warm up slightly. .1213 RPM now. Now I'm adjusting the voltage to 50 volt. (1234 RPM) now. 1248 RPM now. The SSR module is starting to heat up slightly. Setting 52 volts. In the earlier test, it exceeded 1500 RPM, but today it topped out at 1302. After increasing the voltage to 52 volts and reaching 1302 RPM, I'll stop here to avoid stressing the SSR module. Now I'm reducing the voltage to 10 volts to determine the minimum operating voltage. The 8-kilogram flywheel causes the rotation to decay very slowly, and the efficient characteristics of the parallel path system further contribute to this effect. Now I'm lowering the voltage to 3.6 volts. When the MS motor is not connected to the flywheel, moving the actuators left and right by hand requires a significant amount of force. The fact that this system can move them with such low power is a major advantage for developing a free energy device. 1. Normally, without silicon steel, hysteresis causes significant heat. This system showed no hysteresis heating, added drag to the flywheel by hand, and expected proportional increase in power consumption. However, this system showed no increase in power draw. These two characteristics could enable a future rotary-type free energy device. Thank you for your watching. Please subscribe to my channel and set alarm.